All right, so good morning, everyone. I hope you had a good evening. Good morning so far, and I hope you're ready for a interesting, volatile day. We have a lot of stuff happening today. Um, I see three main things. So the first one is yesterday's weakness, right? Um, it's here the start of a larger pullback. All right, down to listen. I'm speaking about the 21 day structure because that's what I use in my system, and I like to watch action around the 21 day structure. But once the trend is started, um, structure, range structure, pivots, base structures are super important as well because market doesn't really care about the 8, the 10, the 21, the 50, the 200 moving average. Um, that's why you just need to recognize the strength of that trend and recognize as well, uh, like we discussed yesterday, the imbalances of buyers and sellers. And that's only a word to explain that at some point when the market gets into a meaningful structure, a meaningful pivot or level, whatever you want to call it, you will start to see a shift in character. You will start to see buyers overflowing the sellers and then constructive action that start building up. That's what you want to observe. Just not to say, okay, I'm only a buyer at the 10 DMA, or no, I'm only a buyer at the 50 DMA. Market doesn't care what you wait for, all right? So that's why you just need to observe. And when you see constructive action either in the market, in the leaders, which is more important, and even more important in your own portfolio and into your new positions attempt. All right, when you see those aligning, then forget about the 21 DMA or the 50 DMA. All right, structure is more important. So that's the first thing. There was a breakdown yesterday. Was it it? We're still building higher lows. We found support in the 650, 655 area that we discussed yesterday. So that could be it. That could be a one-day shakeout, but we never know. There's no indication. So let's wait today. Maybe we need to retest that structure. Maybe we need to retest that 642. Maybe we need to retest that big base structure at 635. Maybe we need to retest the 21 day structure. Maybe we need to retest the 615. Maybe we need to retest the 50. Maybe we just failed that breakout and start a new bear market. All right. Just to illustrate how uh, I'm not trying to predict what will happen, and I'm just in observation. All right. I know my levels. I know what is meaningful on the chart, but after that is just recognizing when there's constructive action around those levels. All right, doesn't mean shit that you think that the market will go down to the 615. You don't know it. All right, that's just prediction. That's for ego, and it will not make you a better trader. Okay, so that's the first thing. Where this pullback will go, no idea. All right, constructive action would be to reclaim yesterday's high for a daily reversal. If that happens, then maybe we have a chance to just continue that lockout rally in the next few days. But I'm not ruling out more weakness. All right, so that's the first thing. The second thing is obviously this is FOMC day. So 14:30, 14 at 2 p.m. this afternoon, let's say it this way, there's the interest rate decision. And then at 2:40, there's that press conference, and this is the last one from Jerome Powell's. So that should bring good volatility today. I don't know if you already traded FOMC day, but usually it's pretty slow, choppy in the morning after the open. Market participants really waiting for that FOMC interest rate decision at 2. If there's no surprise, then it's really waiting about the press conference where uh, the press conference itself, but also the Q&A, which can last to up to 1 hour. So yeah, it can go either way. A lot of volatility, and sometimes the real move happens the next day as well. So don't make too much decision uh, pre FOMC. Don't try to, even if the market looks good, don't try to take too much new exposure because there will be a lot of volatility this afternoon. And the third thing is obviously we have a lot of big earnings tonight after the close. There's like 35% of the Qs reporting. So uh, the Qs can gap up or down like 1-2%, just induced by those earnings reaction, right? So that's important to understand. And that gap in the Qs will not mean that your stocks will gap the same. All right, so there will be a distortion between the Qs, to some extent the SPY, and your stocks and IWM, QQQE, the equal weight indices. All right, so take with a grain of salt what will happen on the Qs after market hours. Uh, if all the mega caps crap the bed and we have a gap down, then obviously your stock will be impacted. But what I'm trying to convey is simply the fact that uh, they have a weight in the Qs, and simply by being down 10%, a Microsoft will impact 0.4% the Qs without the risk moving at all. All right, that's just the reality and how these indices are built. So we have Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, Google. So this is big earnings, and they will probably move the market. Very tech related, some AI related as well, some software related to with Microsoft. So big earnings. Try to manage your risk the most that you can into today's close, especially with FOMC and those big earnings. Uh, there's high probabilities of fireworks after the close. Either way, right? Uh, all right, so that's about price action. Um, Brett Brett hooked down yesterday, so that might be a tell going into FOMC and those big earnings. So QQQE broke, and that's the thing, right? So McClellan summation was not overbought, but the trend weakens before we get overbought. So is it just sideways consolidation, digestion in the trend? The good news is we have now much more room short term as the market digested. That's the good news. So if the market wants to reconfirm the trend and push into a new high, then the McClellan oscillator showed that there's more room upside. But the flip side is the McClellan summation flipped down, hooked down. So it means that we're starting a contraction regime. We're still above a rising 10 DMA. So for me, I'm still seeing this as digestion, sideways action, pullback within the confirmed uptrend. All right. If we start to follow through on that hook down, following FOMC, following mega caps earnings, and we start to flip below the 10 DMA, then for me that will mean probably more defense, managing my new exposure risk, reducing new exposure risk basically, and not looking to open new long positions. Market internals, so they're all looking good. That's why I kept my exposure last night, and we have a bit of divergence between Brett price action and the internal. So that picture is not that clear. We know that there's a good digestion in the last few days, and we're seeing the same in credit spreads, to be honest. I never share my screen, right? Sorry, guys. Um, so yeah, you're saying so the McClellan oscillator peaked April 17, and that's where the credit spreads peaked as well. And since then, we have been in a grind up kind of a flag into the declining 21-day move structure. So I see that as positive, and probably fueling the scenario where MCO and Brett contracted and now offers some room short term to run higher, but you never know, right? So we'll need to watch how this flag into declining structure resume. We're still inside April 23's, so last Thursday range. um, do we break down, which would probably occurs with a market breaking out to a new high, or do we kind of stress test, confirm maybe a longer pullback with a reclaim of the 21-day structure on credit spread? So something to look very closely today, just like it offered really great insight at the market turn. I want to watch that very closely at the end of the day today. Do we have a spike above the 21-day move structure? In which case, you will see me close a lot of new exposure and play defense. Or we reject the structure, we kind of break down from that mini flag and just resume lower. That would be the ideal scenario, internals flashing a risk on reconfirmation. Same thing with VIX, right? 2 days in a row, we're making downside reversal, rejecting the declining 21-day move structure. And that's the same thing, right? It peaked down on April 17, and since then it has been retested and rejected at the declining 21-day move structure. Bitcoin acting good at the 21-day move structure. Can we make another higher low and push and reconfirm the breakout? That will be on watch today as well. So that's it for price action, breadth, and internals. Now, what about the liquid leaders? We started to see some cracks, all right? And we'll need to see how they resolve, all right? Uh, So memory stocks will fly today. STX reported good earnings. It's gapping down. EP candidate. So SNDK, WDC, Micron gapping up as a sympathy play. And we discussed that, right? We mentioned, look, Micron, if you are in WDC, SNDK, Micron, then watch and adjust your position because STX reported last night. That was well received. That's good news. We're gapping up, but it could have been the other way around as well. So yeah, a little crack showing up. So we have light breaking down from the 21 day structure yesterday. Is it only a shakeout and we'll come back into structure and resume the uptrend like early March? That remains to be seen. There's um, there's some names pulling back into rising structure like EHR, like TER that is reported earnings, but now breaking the 21 day structure. GLW broke the structure as well on earnings yesterday. And you have names that we need to look for like APLD, LRCX, semis extended, and that um, trying to hold the rising 21 day structure. VRT trying to hold the structure. So there's a lot of names trying to hold their structure. So that's why I'm engaging here. There's a lot of leaders into their rising 21 day structure, and for me, that's the spot. Nebius broke yesterday. Looks strong pre-market. Let's see if that's a shakeout and we can reclaim structure. And yeah, all in all, there's not a lot of red flags. Um, I would say 99, 98% of the liquid leaders are still above their rising 21 day structure, but we're coming there to retest. So we'll need to watch that closely. How they react. Is the buyers stepping in? Do we bounce and fail, make a lower high, and then break down the structure in the next few days? That's all the clues that we'll need to watch in the next few days. All right. Um, and finally, let's watch at the portfolio real quick. Um, that was closed. That was closed. That was closed. All right. So B up 22%. Nice gap up on earnings. ONS still trying to set up that back test of the rising 21 day structure. Micron gapping up. TER, that will be a name. I don't know what happens. It's now down 16%, probably a downgrade. Um, I will probably close that today. So we'll need to watch how it reacts. Not liking that action this morning. Caterpillar acting good. Good buyers yesterday stepped in. VRT good buyers at the rising 21 day structure. I had it to that as well. Nebius trying to hold the backtest of the 21 day structure. GV as well. Good close yesterday. Kava, I added to that. Looks a bit weak this morning, so we'll need to watch. Maybe I'll need to adjust exposure on this name and maybe close it at the end of the day if it can hold the 21 day structure. ARM was pretty extended. To be honest, that move down is not really a surprise. Let it base, let it build above the rising 21 day structure. XYZ still a name that I'm watching for an ad, but now earnings are getting pretty close. But yeah, as long as it holds the 21 day structure, I'm still in that name. Tesla still looking good in that reclaim and backtest. There was good decoupling yesterday, but it needs to hold and it needs to work today. And finally, Bitcoin, we discussed that, trying to hold the 21 day structure. Um, what I'm looking for today, names that I'm watching, AEHR, so good leader, pulling back, first pull back into the 21 day structure since that base breakout. Uh, is it is it is it ready? Maybe not. Maybe we need to retest the 21 day structure. Maybe we need to build that right side, inside day, higher low. I don't know, but That's a name that I want to watch closely as it really proved to be a winner from the market low. Cien, we'll need to look how it reacts. There's a bit of weakness in photonics. That might not be my top one candidate, but I want to see how it builds. That's a winner in the group, so I want to watch closely. APLD, first pullback into the rising 21 DMA structure. I want to see how it builds the right side there as well. Keys, first 21 DMA structure pullback since that base breakout. Lunar, so we discussed that. Space team setting up. Um, Retest of the 21 DMA structure. That's the kind of setup where I would look for that daily reversal right into the 21 DMA structure. A bit of confirmation in that name to engage. Same thing with QBTS. You have yesterday's high pivot for a clear line in the sand to engage and confirm a daily reversal. And finally, same thing with ORCL. So those are kind of uh, more lagging names that showed a lot of strength. Was it just short covering? And those kind of early strength, high 1 month RS will fail. We'll see. But when I see a very high 1 month RS, really strong off the lows, then I want to watch how they reacts to the 21 DMA structure backtest. Same thing with ORCL. Let's watch how it reacts today. Can we reclaim yesterday's high pivot for a daily reversal? That would kind of confirm the setup for me. All right, so that's the name that I'm watching today. But again, the game plan for me, I went away yesterday and opened some exposure. I want to see how it goes, and planning to be pretty patient, to be honest, with FOMC, with the mega caps earnings. So I would probably just look at opening new exposure if I have really good feedback on new positions. If a couple of them is hitting to our target, that I can de-risk and remove a bit of nair. Uh, that would be kind of the only reason for me to add more exposure. And if nothing works, then that will be the inverse. I will look to remove some new exposure risk uh, overnight. All right, so that's the game plan for me. Any questions, guys? That will be a funky day. Get ready to manage your emotions first. I will do my best to be with you guys in the pit. Um, but the goal will be not to overreact, to be honest. Be patient and wait for the market to sell. All right, so if there's no questions, I hope everyone a very good day. Enjoy FOMC, enjoy the mega caps earnings. And yeah, if you have any questions, you know where to find me. All right, have a good day. Cheers. Bye bye.